All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are in the world. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. I'm excited to welcome you to Chain Fusion Live, the Deuterium Milestone edition. If you saw the news, ICP has recently achieved the Deuterium Milestone. So you're going to learn more about that and really learn the broader context of what's bringing, of how that impacts the applications building on ICP. So I welcome you today to Chain Fusion Live, and we're here to just dive deep into all things multi-chain. Let's get started right off the bat. I want to introduce Andrea from DFINITY. Andrea, how are you doing?
Oh, good, thanks. Nice to be here.
Congratulations on the achievement of reaching the milestone.
Thanks a lot. Very happy.
I hope everyone in Zurich is celebrating and just really kind of recognizing all the work from both on the R&D side.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
All right, so let's dive in. So two key aspects to Deuterium, both of them Bitcoin oriented. So this is kind of a Bitcoin oriented milestone. So let's jump in first with threshold Schnorr. So now ICP supports threshold Schnorr signatures. Can you give us some background on, what's the technical achievement here, and what's the meaning behind it?
Yes, of course. So essentially what threshold Schnorr enables is that now canisters on the internet computer have access to a new system API that they can call. And this system API allows them to essentially request Schnorr signature, and specifically BIP340 signatures, that is the private signature that is supported by the Bitcoin network. And they can essentially request signatures on arbitrary messages that they want. And this is enabled thanks to a threshold protocol. So this is part of the chain key crypto protocols that the internet computer now supports. And this is a threshold protocol that lets nodes of a subnet to interact, engage into a quite complex protocol to then generate these signatures in a secure way, so that they can be then served back to the canister. And one thing that canisters can do, for example, is that they have access to actually multiple public keys, right? And they can use the system API to get access to what are the public keys of the canisters, and they can use these public keys to then derive Bitcoin addresses. And this was already enabled before with the integration of threshold ECDSA, right? And the novelty now is that with BIP340, canisters can now create also taproot addresses, which is what the update of the Bitcoin network that brought Schnorr signature. So yeah, that's essentially what you can do with this new feature.
So if anyone who's been around ICP for a while, they'll probably remember the Bitcoin integration that went live December 2022. That was more about Bitcoin transactions, right? The ECDSA signatures, and then threshold Schnorr. So you mentioned taproot assets. If
Yes.
People aren't familiar with taproot, can you kind of give us some idea? Like, what are the buzzwords that they would recognize that are impactful for this milestone?
Yeah, taproot. It was like a big update. It brought like in a lot of improvements to the Bitcoin network. Right. One of the things was support of this Schnorr signature, which we now support on the internet computer. But it also allowed to to create transactions that were cheaper, so like fees are lower, and but also it simplified the way you can actually script transactions. So if you don't want to just spend your Bitcoin, your UTXOs with a public key, you can actually encode various rules of how your addresses can be spent, right? And what Taproot brought is, it simplified and enabled, a lot of application, and the scripting capability of Bitcoin is improved a lot with that, right? And what this enables also is, all these protocols that we've seen in the past years are rising in Bitcoin, right? For example, the possibility of encrypting data in Bitcoin transaction, doing sort of NFTs on Bitcoin, but also doing these ordinals tokens that were very popular last year, right? All these things are enabled by these scripting capabilities of Bitcoin that was enabled with Taproot, right? And now all these things are now also possible to on the internet computer as well.
So essentially, if in 2022 the native Bitcoin integration unleashed Bitcoin transactions, like what most people would think of as Bitcoin transactions,
Exactly.
this new release basically unlocks all the meta protocols like BRC20s, ordinals, rooms, anything else that's going along.
both cheaper transaction on the Bitcoin network, right, and also these inscription capabilities and ordinals and all these things. Yes.
That's awesome. Does Threshold Schnorr provide any value moving outside of the Bitcoin ecosystem?
Actually, something I didn't know, but like actually also Cardano, for example, supports Schnorr BIP340. So actually, this will also enable, for example, integrating with Cardano. Now, we've been working also on integrating not just BIP340 but also EDDSA, right? So these will enable, integrating with multiple networks in the future, right? For example, Solana being one of them, right? Yeah, so I think this Threshold signature will expand the set of chains that the network will interact with in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's move on. I feel like I could talk all day about Threshold Schnorr because I'm really excited about it. But let's move on to Bitcoin block header data. So what exactly is the update that the Deuterium Milestone brings for ICP?
Yeah, so essentially until last week, so there's this Bitcoin canister right on the internet computer that any canister can interact with, and the main thing that this Bitcoin canister is doing is essentially fetching blocks from the Bitcoin network, right? This is done by the Bitcoin adapter that is running on the node of the internet computer, right? But what the Bitcoin canister does is it stores the set of UTXOs of the Bitcoin network, right? So this is the list of unspent transactions, right? And if you want to develop an application that makes a Bitcoin transaction, right, what you need is exactly that, right? Is the set of UTXOs, right? If you want to spend them, you need to know the list of unspent transactions, right? And this was all that the Bitcoin canister was doing until last week, right? And with the last update of the Bitcoin canister, what it does is that it also exposes what are called these Bitcoin headers, right? And these Bitcoin headers are essentially 80 bytes, right, that collect essentially the hash of the previous blocks, right, and also the Merkle proof of all the transactions that are included in a block. And if you have access to the Bitcoin header, what you can do is that you can essentially verify the chain without having the full list of blocks, right? And for space reasons, the Bitcoin canister cannot store or could, right, but it will be very space inefficient, right? It doesn't actually store the entire Bitcoin blockchain, right? It just stores a few recent blocks, right, the set of UTXOs. And now what it does is also stores these headers, right? And these headers are accessible by other canisters, right? So any other canister can now interact with the Bitcoin canister and fetch headers for any blocks on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? And what this does is that effectively, if you are developing an application, what you can do is that you can then use these headers to, for example, authenticating blocks, right? If you as I said, the Bitcoin canister doesn't store the blocks, but now the application can go, for example, use HTTP outcodes, right? Fetch these blocks on the outside, and then use this block header to validate that they are actually correct, right? So they don't have to, redo the verification on their own, right? They can just fetch the data and then use the, interact with the Bitcoin canister to validate that they are actually correct. So yeah, this is one thing that is enabled now with the recent upgrade.
Awesome. What kind of information are people storing in that header data that might be interesting for us to have access to in a decentralized way?
Yeah, I think even arbitrary data that you can store in transaction, right? I think even for example, right, what the headers contain, it only contains the Merkle root, right? So if you want to prove that, for example, a certain transaction included certain data, then you can leverage these headers to prove, okay, this data was actually included in that block, in that specific block, right? So I think this is also what is unlocked by this application, right?
Awesome. Well, this show's not DFINITY talking with DFINITY. Andre, I do appreciate all the information we got, but I do want to bring in the other guests that we have here. We have Nibu from AstroX and WizWallet, Goraz from Helix Markets, Bob Bodley from Bioniq, and Ray from Bitomni. Before we let Andrea off the hot seat, I just want to ask, do you guys have any questions or comments that you want to add to everything Andrea is saying?
Maybe worth, I know EDDSA, is that, I know it's very similar to Schnorr. Is that also in the works? I mean, I've heard it's in the works, but it's not part of this milestone. Is that right?
That's supposed to be the next one, I guess, the helium.
Yeah, so this milestone was predominantly around Bitcoin, right? So it was not really part of that. I mean, of course, the Schnorr protocol is very, very similar, right? So the entire integration into the Internet of Computer was always thought about, extending also support to this. This is actually also supported on the Internet of Computer already to some extent. So a couple of weeks ago, we proposed to generate a test key for ADDSA, and this is now live, so people can actually start interacting with that. The production key has not been enabled yet. The main reason is that this milestone was really around Bitcoin, so we don't want to overload it with too many things. But if the community starts building project and there's a need for enabling this key, this can be enabled just with a simple proposal, right? So anybody can actually do that.
Yeah, I didn't want to pull too far away from this specific milestone, but I know a lot of people have wanted to do Bitcoin Solana integration work, and that's even more possible now with Threshold Schnorr combined with Threshold ED DSA. And so, anyone looking to do Solana BTC stuff, it's in the works as well on the ED DSA side, which is really exciting.
Yeah, as I said, technically this is pretty much done, right? I think the only thing to be addressed is maybe in terms of load and dealing with signatures requests, right? But this is technically done. So if there are projects already building on both keys, and as I said, the test key is already available, and yeah, these other key can also, the production key can also be enabled as well, and they can go live pretty much anytime. So
I think we're touching on exactly what we mean by chain fusion is ICP as this layer 0 interoperability hub of just bringing different chains together. Nice big party that we under one roof that we can have within our industry. So, well, Andre, I really do appreciate it. I think you kind of dropped a little bit of alpha there. I'm not sure if anyone else picked it up that perhaps Solana integration is actually a little bit closer than maybe what we've publicly stated in the past. So that's awesome news. Let me go around the table. What I want to really get into is so obviously, like, DFINITY likes to build cool tech. We like to build a protocol, but really all it is a platform for entrepreneurs and builders to come in and build just phenomenal products for their users. So that's really why ICP exists. And so let's make sure we give plenty of time to learn the Deuterium milestone, how that's going to play out in the apps that are already deployed. So let's start. Nibu, how are you doing, man? You there?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Kyle. Thanks for passing the mic. Yeah, pretty good and pretty busy with our current project.
Yeah, it was great meeting you at Bitcoin Nashville. Really appreciated you coming out and doing Chain Fusion Day. I know. So let's jump straight into, like, how do you plan on incorporating what is the Deuterium milestone bring for the multitude of applications that you're building over there?
Yeah. For our project, we've been building a Bitcoin wallet called Wiz Wallet. Actually, we were the first batch, entrepreneurs on ICP. So for last year, we've been exploring around Bitcoin ecosystem, and we found that some momentum about the meta protocols we were already familiar with, and then we found that if we can bring ICP technology back to the Bitcoin ecosystem, would be very powerful. So we've been waiting for Schnorr, and that's the first thing. And another thing is that we are actually building a traditional, extension wallet on Bitcoin ecosystem. We are touching like Bitcoin staking and Bitcoin data verification on chain. So the header API would be very powerful for us to explore the data mining or data verification on Bitcoin layer 1 directly by powered by the ICP subnet API. So that's the two components we are really eager and really interested and really kind of embrace them as well. And then that's the two things. And then the other thing is that we are actually building another meta protocol called Rainbow Protocol, which will bring Bitcoin native assets cooperating with ICP's native assets together directly. So basically, it's a direct integration with Bitcoin meta protocol and ICP. So basically, that's the most powerful thing we're building on, which is I was talking about in Bitcoin Nashville, talking about a new programmable meta protocol on Bitcoin's ecosystem. So that's the trend, and we are kind of really devoting ourselves to the development, and also we are participating the Bitcoin Olympics hackathon, trying to bring the Bitcoin staking to the ICP and borrowing the power of threshold Schnorr and TECSA to the public.
I love it. I love it. Make sure, well, in terms of timelines, right? So we celebrate the milestone today, but obviously there's some time to roll out these products. So, when can we see the updates to Wiz Wallet, and when do you expect Rainbow Protocol to hit its first milestone?
Yeah, the Rainbow Protocol will be a little bit faster and coming soon, maybe next week, and depending on the how we can utilizing the header API, because it's a really critical part for us to verify on chain. So that's the first thing, and then another one is the Bitcoin Olympic hackathon. Yeah, that's the schedule.
Awesome. Who's your target audience for Rainbow Protocol?
Basically, Rainbow Protocol is a meta protocol on Bitcoin, so we're targeting all those Bitcoin ecosystem like meta protocol holders, and including Ordinals, BRC20, and all those Trap and Runes holders. We are targeting them at first, and then we are also cooperating with ICP ecosystem, especially for DeFi projects like Helix market, where we are going to talk to you about the integration of the Rainbow assets.
You guys are more than welcome to stick around and have that conversation right after this if you want. Where can people get more information on Wiz Wallet, Rainbow Protocol? Where should they keep up to date?
Oh, we'll be tweeting about the Rainbow Protocol, because it's a kind of an in-house project for Wiz Wallet. We're incubating right now, and then we will posting about the link and after this live show.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate it. Stick around. We're gonna have just a broader conversation around like the direction Bitcoin's headed in afterwards. But I want to make sure we get Garaz and Bob and Ray a chance to kind of dive deeper into their products. So Garaz, give us the 1 minute of what Helix Market is, and then how you guys plan on using the Deuterium Milestone.
Yeah, Helix Markets is a multi-chain order book DEX. Basically, what we try to do is do all this like chain fusion or chain abstraction, however you want to kind of put it. It's basically about abstracting away different protocols from the user, so he doesn't have to be bothered with all the blockchain friction that it takes to switch between Ethereum, ICP, Bitcoin, Cardano, all the other networks, having thousands of wallets, onboarding into different ecosystems. So we just want to make it like really simple and smooth for people to get into crypto, trade, and then just enjoy the fun parts of crypto, not the painful parts. That's kind of like what's Helix trying to solve. In terms of Schnorr, so yeah, today I'm super happy. We're just testing Schnorr taproot addresses on Helix. So kind of we got them all implemented already. We're kind of doing the final stages of testing, and we're looking to release Schnorr Bitcoin around Thursday if everything works out well. If not, then probably next week. Funny enough, we actually started the Bitcoin journey about 6 months ago with ECDSA Bitcoin legacy addresses, but then we quickly found out it's pretty expensive, and it's not very well extensible to the Bitcoin layer 2 ecosystem. So that's why we waited for another 6 months for Schnorr. So while we were doing transaction tests this morning, it was like super nice to see that an on-chain transaction cost about like $1, as opposed to probably like 30 or 20 that we were paying in Feb. So I don't know, just like due to reduced network activity. I mean, I don't think it's that cheaper using Schnorr, but still, it was just super nice to see that it's kind of scalable that way. That transaction costs don't kill any UX for the users. What we want to do with this in the future, we're also looking into extending into the ordinals finance ecosystem. So we would like to basically integrate with the TAP protocol. One thing that I think whoever kind of is doing L2 Bitcoin knows that there's a lot of clunkiness involved if you want to trade rooms, ordinals, etc. You have these auction mechanisms, you have to do a lot of UTXO consolidation, etc. It's just not like a very frictionless process. It takes time, and it's expensive and painful. So what we want to do is we want to enable the trading of fungible Bitcoin layer 2 tokens on the Helix markets order books, making it very simple to kind of trade ordinals, not using auction mechanisms, but I don't know, if you want to buy $5, $10, whatever, you just buy it via the order book. So, and we'll handle all the UTXO complexity on our back end, and you don't have to do everything as a user yourself. The other things, the other directions that Andrea mentioned, we're actually integrating Cardano as well, and Vara network using Schnorr. In the future, yeah, we're very much looking forward to doing Solana as well with EDDSA. And one of the features that we would also like to see for the future is key tweaking, which is I think not part of this release, but yeah, will be as part of one of the next releases, just to make it easier to interact with the L2 ecosystem.
Awesome. How do you guys make a decision on which, let's say BRC20 or Runes or any other meta protocol token, which ones to bring into the order book?
I mean, we went with TAP because we just thought it was really cool tech as a meta protocol, and we saw very good cooperation with the team, that we can make stuff much faster and more efficient by bringing it on kind of combining the power of IC with Bitcoin and giving a better user experience for anybody using the TAP protocol.
Awesome. Well, you obviously have the Helix Market website in your little header there, your own little block header data. So where else can people follow Helix to keep up to date as you start rolling out?
Best thing is just follow our Twitter, our Telegram. We'll make all the announcements there when we release something cool, or our Discord channel. Okay,
what's the Twitter handle?
I think it's @Helix Markets.
Okay, perfect, awesome. Thanks, Graz. And let's move on to Ray. Ray, how are you doing?
Unmute first. Yeah. Thank you, Carl. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, no, it's good to talk with you. I think the last time we talked was Chugga Chugga Bitcoin back in April, and so that was a fun conversation. In case people have slept since April and have forgotten about Bitomni and what you guys are doing there, can you give us kind of a background on the on your app and how you plan on incorporating Deuterium?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Bitomni is a BTC-Fi driven omnichain asset management protocol. So basically, we have a suite of DApps, building DApps. First one, we have launched the first DApp, which is Bito Bridge, and we are working on the second and third one, which are Bito Indexer and Bito Restaking. So at Bitomni, we are actually super excited about the Deuterium Milestone. As introduced by Andrea, this milestone introduces the Schnorr and on-chain Bitcoin header API. For us, they are both game changers, for our development efforts. Yeah, as I mentioned, our first and pioneering DApp, Beetle Bridge, is currently in its testnet stage and making waves as the supposedly, or as far as I know, the first Bitcoin omnichain bridge. It enables the transfer of Bitcoin and also ICRC tokens to various blockchain ecosystems, including EVM-compatible chains and some of the Bitcoin layer 2s. And also in future, we're gonna integrate move-based ecosystems like Sui or Aptos. Since its launch just 20 days ago, it has been incredible to see over 10,000 users actually engaging with Beetle Bridge, all made possible by leveraging chain fusion technologies here. So looking ahead, Beetle Bridge is set to expand its capabilities. We will integrate Schnorr signatures to support bridging BRC20 and the Ruins tokens. This enhancement will vastly increase our interoperabilities with various blockchains for sure. And also, as mentioned by Bob as well, we also eagerly anticipate trustless integration with any chain using EDDSA on the ED 25519 curve, including major players like Solana. And also, this will significantly broaden our reach, adding some high-profile chains to our supported networks. Moreover, we are developing a Beetle Indexer. Bob knows a little bit about this because I have been throwing ideas to him through Twitter. Yeah, I got valuable feedback from Bob, and thank you, Bob. And yeah, actually, we've basically decided the final way of doing this. We've completed our technical design. Beetle Indexer is supposed to be a decentralized Bitcoin meta protocol indexer that operates through a novel on-chain plus off-chain structure. It's not fully on-chain yet for some reasons, mostly computational, heavy load stuff. But anyways, so it's an on-chain, off-chain structure, but can easily go fully on-chain with our structure. Some off-chain indexers do heavy work, like a lot of computations, and push the checkpoints to the data availability canister on IC. The on-chain light canister, on-chain light indexer canister also on IC queries the state from the off-chain indexer and the checkpoints from the data availability index canister on IC. And it pushes the state of the protocol state ledger canister, where users obtain the meta protocol data eventually. However, the verification protocol is triggered if the checkpoints submitted by different off-chain indexers are inconsistent. The on-chain light indexer canister must query block data from RPC nodes to verify the checkpoints. So with the on-chain with the on-chain Bitcoin block header API, the light indexer canister can fetch raw transactions and the Merkle root hash from an untrusted source and compare it with the root hash in the block header to verify blocks easily. So this is quite important for the Beetle Indexer. With all these possibilities, it is hard not to be thrilled about the potential that the Deuterium Milestone brings to the table for us. The advancements we plan to implement are not just the technical achievements, but the stepping stones towards the more connected and accessible blockchain universe that aligns with Chain Fusion's vision. Actually, almost all the DApps are built upon Chain Fusion technologies. For Beetle Bridge, we mainly use Bitcoin integration and CKBTC as well. Yeah, anyways, so as we integrate these new features, we are opening up new possibilities for ICP and the broader Web3 community. It is an accelerating time to be at the forefront of blockchain interoperability, and we can't wait to see how these changes revolutionize the landscape. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ray. That's a phenomenal explanation. And to your point, it does feel like we are on the verge of maybe like the next story that crypto has to tell, which is one that's based more on interoperability, less on tribalism, less on trying to secure your own liquidity and user base, and actually more having use a good user experience moving across. Did I hear you correctly that BitoBridge is actually bringing ICRC20 or ICRC20 tokens to other chains?
Other EVM chains and Bitcoin layer 2s as well. Exactly. Yeah, it's alive already. So welcome, test it out.
I think
yeah.
I made a note to check it out right after this, because I know, talking with some other players within the industry, most of the major chains are looking to try to figure out their Bitcoin play. I think the industry's kind of come to realize that if they're not they don't have a good Bitcoin product on their chain, or and that could just be native Bitcoin, or it could be a meta protocol token. And so that's a very wise thing. We've been very focused on how to bring, we talk about how to bring Bitcoin to ICP, but there's also other chains that are looking at how do you bring Bitcoin to themselves. So I think you're well positioned there.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, this came from this idea came from one of the DFINITY team members, William Warner. But because we want to do like a Bitcoin omnichain bridge, right? Like we need to use CKBTC. So basically, CKBTC is like intermediary for Bitcoin and a wrapped version of Bitcoin on EVM chain. So by doing that, we already complete ICRC to other EVM chains. So why don't you just make that feature a module? So that's we talk about it and we thought, okay, that's a good idea actually. And then we built that module first and build the BTC part upon that module, which makes the BitoBridge.
Awesome.
Now. So we're working on the version 2 now, which gonna supposedly optimize the user experience significantly. But now it's version 1 in testnet. The website is dapp.bitomni.io. Welcome everyone to try it out and give your feedback to us. Thank you.
Awesome. And then in terms of keeping up to date on future releases and everything, is your Twitter handle there the best way to keep up to date?
Maybe the better way would be follow our official Twitter, which is Bitomni _global.
_global. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Great. Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then let's get Bob, CEO of Bioniq. How are you doing today, Bob?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's thanks for making time. I see you all the time on across the Twitter sphere and everywhere else. So appreciate all you're doing for the ICP and the Bitcoin community. Give us some background on what is Bioniq, and then also how do you guys plan on using the Deuterium Milestone to broaden your product?
Yeah, Bioniq is an ordinals marketplace and launchpad that lets you do more with your Bitcoin assets. That includes ordinals. Will soon include runes, BRC20. Imagine all of the things you may want to do with your tokens, like staking them or trading them or using them in a cool idle incremental game, or swapping them, or combining them, or doing all kinds of interesting things with your tokens. That's what our goal is with Bioniq, is to help you do more with your Bitcoin assets. And so we leverage a bunch of cool technology to do that. And really excited about some of the things we have in the pipeline right now. And then regarding the Deuterium Milestone, the threshold Schnorr signing subnet, and adding block headers to the light node, I'm gonna kind of veer off from your question a little bit. And for all the builders out there looking for a cool project for the Bitcoin Olympics hackathon that's happening right now, or I know there's another kind of ICP BTC hackathon, I have a list of 8 awesome things you can do with Threshold Schnorr, presented by Bob Bodley. So let me just...
you want a drum roll before you start?
I don't need a drum roll, but if people want to provide one, I won't stop you. Okay, so I'm going to give you like existing entities in the Bitcoin space, and then I'm going to give you how they could potentially leverage these. So they're like very Bitcoin specific use cases. So the first one, if you've looked at BitVM or BitVM2, these are new, interesting ways to do optimistic bridging from Bitcoin to other places. You can actually leverage Threshold Schnorr as like an always available decentralized signer. This could be like Watchtower. This could be like actually a challenger in these schemes that can add to the decentralization of some of these optimistic bridging mechanisms. So companies like Citria or Alpen Labs or ZeroSync, could leverage something like Threshold Schnorr to just add a bit of decentralization or improve these bridging mechanisms. So that one's interesting. Another one is DLCs. If you don't know what DLCs are, these are discrete log contracts. On the Bitcoin side, this would be like Liquidium. If you've used Liquidium, Liquidium is the top lending protocol for ordinals. You can lock up an ordinal and then take some kind of Bitcoin loan, and then either you pay it back with interest or you get liquidated and the loan provider gets your ordinal. They could leverage most DLCs actually use Schnorr signatures, not ECDSA signatures. And so you could leverage the Threshold Schnorr implementation and essentially leverage ICP as a decentralized oracle. So instead of relying on some kind of centralized oracle for your DLCs, you could actually basically take your DLCs and put them on steroids, leveraging this Threshold Schnorr combined with oracles. The third one is kind of along the lines of what Tap and Track are doing. You can leverage Threshold Schnorr for additional native programmability on Bitcoin. So, you could do AMMs, you could do liquidity pools, you could do swaps, you could do DEXs. And it's very similar to the DLC use case in that you can leverage Threshold Schnorr as kind of like a decentralized signing protocol that can enable all kinds of kind of native Bitcoin 01 functionality. You could build a decentralized inscription service. This would be like OrdinalsBot. OrdinalsBot is one of the top kind of inscribing engines on the Bitcoin side. And if they wanted to, they could leverage Threshold Schnorr as this, always available decentralized signing service that could then enable inscribing. The next one is conditional inscription, reinscription for games or interactivity. This is like what Pizza Pets is doing. If anyone has been following ordinals, Trevor Owens has just been doing a fantastic job with the Pizza Ninjas project. And their new project is called Pizza Pets. And they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff with parent-child and reinscription and dynamic interactive ordinals. And I know that for part of this, you need like an interactive component. Like you can't just let people grab items whenever they want and reinscribe them to their character. There's like a process that has to happen. And so you could leverage this Threshold Schnorr signing subnet as essentially your game inscription tool. And then you can do more interactivity on the Bitcoin base layer.
So before you move off of that, just in case anyone doesn't know what a reinscription, define that for everyone.
Yeah, inscribing is when you take data and you connect it to a specific Satoshi on Bitcoin. And reinscription is when you take additional data and add it to the same Satoshi. So it's an append-only database essentially, and you can continue to add more data to the same Satoshi. And now the Satoshi is more like a book, and every page is kind of each inscription. And so you can add additional data to your inscription. So they call it reinscription. So a lot of people are leveraging this when you have some kind of ordinal and you want to upgrade it over time. And so you can reinscribe it over time as it upgrades. And oftentimes in a game environment, you want to prescribe conditions with which you can do that reinscription. And so you might need some kind of third-party signing service. And Threshold Schnorr would be the perfect kind of signing service for something like that. if these aren't interesting if you're listening to this and you're not interested in this, then you probably don't want to build on Bitcoin. Okay, next one. You could prevent mempool sniping in a PSBT marketplace. So if you've ever tried to buy something on Magic Eden, whether it's an ordinal or whether it's a runes token or something like that, it's likely that you have been mempool sniped. This means that you go and you try to purchase something, and then someone else sees your transaction in the mempool and they pay higher fees, and essentially they snipe your purchase. This is really annoying, and one way that you could potentially avoid this sniping is you could use a decentralized signing service like Threshold Schnorr and require a signature from this signing subnet for all transactions. In this case, you could essentially build in some programmability so it can only sign the first transaction. And so now you're essentially preventing mempool sniping by enabling this, decentralized threshold Schnorr signing with the transaction. So Magic Eden could, if they wanted to, prevent mempool sniping, and it would probably make it better for users. The next one that I think this is number 7 is a BRC20 bridge. BRC20s are notoriously hard to bridge because as part of the bridging process, you have to inscribe a transfer inscription, and then you have to send that transfer inscription on. So there is kind of a workaround hack for a way to do that without Threshold Schnorr, but the Threshold Schnorr implementation makes it significantly easier to then bridge these BRC20 assets. And so BRC20 bridging, this is from Bitcoin L1 to any Bitcoin sidechain or any Bitcoin L2 or even Solana or other chains is relatively straightforward in the threshold Schnorr signing subnet use case. And the final one is just deeper integration with Taproot assets and the Lightning Network. A lot of people are doing interesting things with Taproot. People are doing crazier things than they've ever done, leveraging Taproot. And using Threshold Schnorr, you can essentially have first-class support into all of these various protocols, whether it's committing funds to a Lightning channel or whether it's doing Taproot asset transactions and then moving those to the Lightning Network. So anyway, these are the 8 interesting, very relevant ideas for how you could leverage Threshold Schnorr today in your Bitcoin project to do interesting things.
I really appreciate that you used your what I'll call your shill time for Bioniq. You gave a little background on Bioniq, but then you basically just paid it forward and gave a bunch of ideas of anyone who's looking to build, what they should be thinking about building, where there's demand. So if you're just tuning in and you're a builder and you want to build on Bitcoin, I'd say go back to minute, 35, 36 of the show and just re-listen to everything Bob just said and go ahead and jot down those ideas and see what it is that you want to build. Going back to Bioniq, where can people learn more about Bioniq and keep up to date?
Yeah, Bioniq.io. We have a free claim live right now, so you can log into Bioniq.io. That's Bioniq with a Q at the end. And then you can just go to Launchpad and there's a free claim. We did a collaboration between a glitch artist named Solemn for the Bit Gala, which was a really awesome event at Bitcoin Nashville 2 weeks ago. And so we're kind of just re-celebrating that event. We reopened the free claim. So go get a cool glitch asset celebrating that event at the Parthenon in Nashville. And yeah, definitely follow Bioniq Market on Twitter, or I'm Bob Bodley on Twitter, and I'll post this list on Twitter as well for anyone that missed it.
So if you are a builder, time's ticking. There's no delay because this is public and other people might be building out as well. I'll just give a second appeal for the free claim on Bioniq because I was at the Big Gala. It was at the Parthenon, which is just a classic, iconic Nashville venue, and they orange pilled it. They had the entire outside lighted in orange. It was really, I think, a milestone for what happened in Nashville, but then also kind of where our industry is, which is phenomenal. Let's talk about it and this is just kind of open. Oh, before actually I move off, I do want to call attention. They couldn't be here with us today, but I know Omnity Network is incorporating a lot with the Deuterium Milestone. I'll let them tell the story, as well as Bitfinity. So that Bitfinity being an EVM built on ICP, they've got a lot of Taproot asset plans as well. In general, so one of the things that really kind of strikes me, and you guys all mentioned this, is Bitcoin's kind of on its own direction, which probably maybe, let's say, kicked off with the Taproot upgrade. I don't know, what was that, 2.5, 3 years ago, and what struck me is that for each of your products, you're kind of saying, let's meet Bitcoin where it is and let's figure out where we add value into kind of like already the momentum that's going. So what, in terms of like the direction Bitcoin is going relative to, like, let's say like an Ethereum or Solana or any other, the rest of the industry, like what kind of gets you guys the most excited of like which direction Bitcoin's headed and how you think you can provide the most value to that direction? I'll just keep it open to anyone who wants to come off mute and answer that.
Anything that has ever been done on any chain anywhere is coming to Bitcoin. That's my take on the growth of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Bitcoin hasn't always been for builders, but in the last 18 months, we've seen more people interested in building and actually building innovative things and funding interesting projects on Bitcoin than perhaps ever before in the history of Bitcoin.
So, so why do you think that is? Like, why would anyone want to start doing on Bitcoin what's already been done on a different chain?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin is the highest market cap token. It's the most widely recognized cryptocurrency. It has an ETF. There's less regulatory risk. And a lot of people came into crypto as a Bitcoiner, tried to figure out how to do something on Bitcoin and couldn't. And so they maybe moved to other chains. And now, everyone's coming back to the mother chain or the grandfather chain, because people like Bitcoin as kind of the world's most decentralized, secure, censorship-resistant blockchain.
Yeah, totally agree. I'll add to the branding of Bitcoin has been perhaps the only branding that's gotten out into the mass market. And just as like a anecdotal data, whenever I tell people I work in blockchain or I tell them I work in cryptocurrency, unless they're like a complete degen, which often they aren't, they'll say, oh, so you work for Bitcoin? It's kind of the answer. So, which I think is always funny. Anyone else, like, what, in terms of the direction that Bitcoin's heading in, anything else that's got you really excited? Any like innovation that you're seeing that might be different than what's going on in the rest of cryptocurrency? Or let's go this way. What is your wish list for DFINITY next? I know Andre is just sitting there waiting for work. He needs some direction. Let's say, what's your wish list look like? What should we be focused on next?
I mean, for us, it would be like key tweaking and EDDSA. That's like the two things that would really help us out.
What was the first thing you said there?
Key tweaking on the Schnorr signatures. So it's like also a feature of that.
Got it. Ray, I saw you come off or head nod. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with Grad. EDDSA is the one I would wish for, like, as soon as possible. But I do feel like we already fall a little bit behind of other guys like Nibo and Gerard. They already started integrating this like T-Schnorr and block headers, but we haven't. We are planning to. So yeah, I feel a lot of pressure after this chat. We need to like keep up the work. But anyways, yeah, EDDSA. I expect to see that soon. And maybe for EDDSA, we should like integrate like earlier than others. Try to do that.
Love it. Love it. Oh, go ahead,
I
Bob.
think we should do Bitcoin full node on chain. I think there are
that
some.
one also.
Yeah, I think there are some
I thought-
advantages. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought
Greg.
they were trying to do that, right? Like Bob, I saw that like some topic on forum. They like upgrade the MAM in order to accomplish that, but I didn't follow up the topic.
Yeah, from my perspective, it unlocks a couple things. You could build a fully decentralized Bitcoin Explorer. So you could have a front end hosted on chain that's pulling data from on chain. And that just feels really cool. Like we haven't had anything like that before. And then I think it gives us interesting opportunities to index the Bitcoin blockchain. There are a lot of different meta protocols storing data in lots of different places. Certain protocols use the op return, certain meta protocols use the witness data. And if you could grab all of that data whenever you wanted directly from an on-chain source, that feels pretty fantastic. It kind of lays the groundwork for really incredible decentralized indexers for meta protocols, and is basically future-proof for anyone storing anything on Bitcoin for any meta protocol ever. And then you can kind of just plug in your indexer on top, and then you're good to go. So this is one I've been trying to get someone to build for a while. So we'll see.
That's a really cool one, because this is one of the main pain points. Is like, you're always afraid that when you're indexing the chain or reading kind of UTXOs that you miss out on something, right? So somebody sends a valuable UTXO and you miss it, right? It's like, and then
Yeah.
standards keep changing, keeps updating, so nobody has like a state of play on Bitcoin, because there's no kind of one standard for it. So it's like, for us, it's the scariest part is like you don't reach chain state correctly.
Yeah, I would say that block headers is a good step in this direction. Block headers
Mhm.
means essentially you can pull data from wherever you want and verify that it's correct. But it doesn't ensure that you have all blocks. You can't just say, oh, I have all of the Bitcoin blocks here. It's just, is this block correct? Is all of the data included in this block? And so it's a good step in the right direction. And block headers are fantastic, and I think it will start to enable decentralized indexers. I know Omnity already has a runes indexer running on chain. So they took the ordinals repo, cut out the runes indexing portion, and deployed it on chain. And they're going to leverage the block headers so they can pull data from their own kind of off-chain node and verify the authenticity of that block before they index it. And so that's fantastic first step. But if we want to go crazy on the Bitcoin side, Bitcoin full node would be a nice flex for sure.
15 years of data all stored in one single smart contract.
I think it's only 800 gigabytes, maybe something like that. So currently wouldn't fit in a single canister, but with the improvements coming on the canister size, I mean, you might just wait a little while and you might all fit in a single canister even, which again is kind of a flex. So
I will say, I know internally within DFINITY, canister memory size is a key point of interest for our AI. I don't know, track or vertical. So even without us focusing on Bitcoin, you could still see a full node from that perspective, only because it might be that our AI narrative is driving that priority. So awesome. So full node, EDDSA, key tweaking. Anything else you guys? Andre is going to get this done by next week, so he needs something for the following week. Let's do this. I know we're coming down to the end of the hour. First, I just want to say, phenomenal job, guys. Really excited to be on this journey with you. It does, Ray, I think you said it feels like we're on like the very front edge of something really, really big. So I appreciate being in this journey with you guys. Any last words? I'll just kind of go around the horn. If there's anything else you want to leave the audience with before we tune off, here's your chance. Nibu, I'll go first with you.
Okay, we actually open source another component really important that for all those ICP builders, which call sign with Bitcoin, which is a canister sign solution for all those extension wallets, and some of the projects are already integrated with it, B5L, and I believe some other smaller projects are already interested with it. Also, local mining is integrated with sign with Bitcoin. I believe Bob will be interesting integrated with Bioniq. And welcome everybody else and use the open source library to allow extension wallet to sign with Bitcoin to log in to the ICP ecosystem seamlessly and efficiently. Yes.
Love it. Love the play there. Garaz, final words?
Yeah, so just, we're kind of step by step giving more and more flavor of Bitcoin to our users. So you have, chain key now, we're adding the real thing. So Bitcoin. We're going to be adding a couple of other flavors from other chains. So we want to be like sort of the one-stop shop for any flavor of Bitcoin.
Love it. Love it. Ray.
I'm mute. Yeah, I'm just very excited about all of this. I would say it's just the beginning. Stay tuned, guys and gals.
Such good words there. Bob?
Go get yourself your first ordinal. Bioniq.io, Launchpad free claim. It'll only be open for another, 24, 48 hours. So get in there, check it out, get a really cool glitch asset. And feel free, if you're a builder, if you're looking to build interesting Bitcoin applications, leveraging Threshold Schnorr or Bitcoin Light Node, feel free to DM me. I'm just at Bob Bodley on Twitter. I'm pretty responsive. Happy to help if you're interested in building a hackathon project or something for the Bitcoin Olympics. Reach out. For a lot of the ideas I mentioned, there is in most cases likely some grant funding available as well. And so especially for things on the infrastructure side. So definitely reach out. And if this is interesting to you, I'm happy to connect you up with the right folks and give you some technical pointers on good paths to move forward. So feel free to reach out if that's interesting to you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Bob. Andre, is there anything you want to close us out on?
Yeah, I was expecting to hear that keys among the robustness feature, but not. So maybe we'll work on something else. No, just joking. It was really nice to be with you guys. And if you have any feedback or things that you feel that can be improved, let us know and reach out in the forum or in other channels. And happy to help you guys building all the things you're doing. So yeah.
I think vet keys is just always implied as wanted and needed, so it doesn't need saying anymore. So vet keys 1,000 times over just to ensure it stays on the priority list.
It is awesome to see what you guys are building on top of the tech that DFINITY has invested so much energy in. So Andre, I appreciate R&D's work on this. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time on this. And ladies and gentlemen watching, just thank you so much for giving your time to Chain Fusion Live. We will have a special edition of Chain Fusion Live tomorrow, talking real quickly with the TAP protocol /track on their recent announcement. So hopefully I'll see you there tomorrow. And if not, I'll see you guys out there on Twitter and other handles. Check out all the apps that gave their time here today, and look forward to talking later.
All right.